If you're a senior man watching this, pay close attention, because in the next few seconds, I'm going to reveal the real reason so many older men end up feeling drained, disrespected, and disappointed in relationships. The truth is simple, but it's not easy to hear. Women don't lose respect for senior men because of age. They lose respect because of certain behaviors, things men keep doing that they should never be doing in the first place. And once you understand these 10 rules, everything starts to click. You'll see why some men thrive after 60, while others slowly lose themselves trying to please someone who never truly valued them. So let's get straight into it. The first thing a senior man should never do for a woman is sacrifice his entire identity just to be liked. After 60, your identity is your strength. You've lived, you've learned, you've built habits, routines, and a way of life that gives you stability. But the moment many men meet someone new, everything changes. They stop seeing their friends. They drop their hobbies. They start revolving their entire life around her. And that's where the problem begins. Because here's the truth every senior man needs to understand: a woman doesn't respect a man who gives up everything for her. She respects the man who already has a life, his own purpose, his own direction, his own backbone. When you make her your whole world, she eventually loses interest. Not because she's cruel, but because there's nothing left to admire. You're meant to grow with someone, not shrink for them. The second thing you should never do is overinvest too early. This is a common mistake. A man meets a woman who's kind, attractive, or simply gives him attention, and suddenly, he treats her like she's already earned a permanent place in his life. Expensive dinners, thoughtful gifts, financial help, emotional support, all given up front. But relationships after 60 aren't built on how fast you give, they're built on how well you evaluate. Take your time. Watch her behavior. Does she respect you? Does she reciprocate? Does she bring peace into your life or unnecessary stress? A woman values a man who shows emotional discipline, not desperation. Your attention is valuable. Treat it like gold, not something you hand out freely. The third thing senior men should never do is ignore disrespect, even the small signs. A lot of older men avoid conflict. They want peace, not arguments. And that's understandable. But silence isn't peace. Silence is surrender. If a woman speaks to you disrespectfully, dismisses your needs, laughs at your boundaries, or mocks your values, and you say nothing, you're teaching her that it's okay to treat you that way. And it will only get worse. Respect is non-negotiable. Especially at this stage of life, where your emotional energy matters more than ever. If she can't speak to you with kindness, calmness, and appreciation, then she doesn't deserve access to you. Because a woman who truly values you wouldn't disrespect you to begin with. The fourth thing you should never do is become her financial plan. This trap catches a lot of senior men, especially when dealing with younger women or women who seem sweet, but only when they need something. It often starts small. A bill here. A favor there. A little help that seems harmless. But over time, some men find themselves funding an entire lifestyle, one that would disappear the moment the money stops. So remember this rule: if her affection depends on your wallet, it's not love. It's a transaction. Support should come from trust and genuine connection, not obligation or manipulation. Your money represents your security, your years of effort, your future. Protect it. The fifth thing senior men should never do is apologize for having standards. Many older men feel like they should be grateful just for attention, especially if the woman is younger or attractive. So they lower their expectations. They hide their boundaries. They accept behavior they normally wouldn't. All out of fear of being alone. But here's the reality: women don't respect men who abandon their standards just to keep someone around. They respect men who know who they are. Men who are clear about what they want and what they won't tolerate. Having standards doesn't make you difficult. It makes you wise. And at this stage in life, wisdom is your biggest advantage. Never apologize for expecting loyalty, honesty, kindness, and real effort. The sixth thing you should never do is chase a woman after she pulls away. This is where many senior men lose their power without even realizing it. A woman becomes distant, and suddenly, the man starts doing more. Calling more. Texting more. Giving more. Trying to win her back. But chasing sends the wrong message. It tells her she's the prize, and you're just trying to keep up. But after 60, the dynamic should be different. You are the prize. You bring experience, emotional stability, and maturity, qualities many women are actively looking for. If she pulls away, let her. A woman who truly values you won't risk losing you. And if she never valued you in the first place, chasing her won't change that. Don't waste your time chasing temporary attention. The seventh thing senior men should never do is let a woman control their emotions. Some women will test your emotional stability, whether intentionally or not. They might create jealousy, send mixed signals, withdraw communication, or stir drama. But emotional chaos is exhausting. And at this stage in life, your peace is everything. A grounded, mature man doesn't let someone else dictate how he feels. Your emotional control is your strength. Women respect calm, steady energy, not reactions and unpredictability. If a woman brings constant drama into your life, the best move isn't to fix it, it's to step away. Because a real woman adds peace, not confusion. The eighth thing you should never do is try to fix her problems at the cost of your own well-being. Many senior men naturally fall into the role of problem solver. When a woman is struggling, they feel responsible for helping, financially, emotionally, or mentally. But here's the truth, a healthy woman wants a partner, not a rescuer. If she constantly relies on you to fix her life, her finances, her emotions, her mistakes, then she's not looking for love. She's looking for someone to carry her burdens. And that's not your role. You are not her therapist. You are not her safety net. You are not her savior. You are a man with your own life, responsibilities, and priorities. Support her when it makes sense, but never sacrifice your well-being to solve problems she created. The ninth thing you should never do is allow yourself to be isolated from your world. This one is subtle, but dangerous. Some relationships slowly pull you away from your friends, your family, your routines. Not always intentionally, but the result is the same. You become more dependent, more disconnected, and easier to control. But senior men thrive when they stay connected. Socially active. Engaged with life. Isolation weakens your position. A woman with good intentions will never try to separate you from the people and routines that matter to you. She'll support your independence, not limit it. And finally, the 10th thing senior men should never do is give love before receiving respect. Love alone isn't enough. Respect is the foundation of every lasting relationship. A woman might enjoy your presence. She might accept your gifts. She might even appreciate your kindness. But if she doesn't respect you, she will never fully value you. And without respect, nothing you do will ever feel like enough. Too many older men give everything first, hoping respect will come later. But it doesn't work that way. Respect comes first. Everything else follows. And when it's missing, nothing you give will fix it. These are the first 10 truths every senior man needs to understand. But this is just the beginning. In part 2, we're going to dive deeper into the psychology behind why women behave this way, why so many older men fall into these patterns, and how you can protect your emotions, your finances, your peace, and your self-respect in relationships after 60. Now that you understand the 10 things senior men should never do for women, it's time to go deeper. Because knowing the rules is one thing, but understanding why these patterns happen is what truly changes your outcomes. You see, being a senior man in today's world is very different from what it used to be. The dating landscape has shifted. Women today have more options, more independence, and more confidence than ever before. But many older men are still operating with an outdated mindset, and that creates a gap. A gap in expectations, in behavior, and ultimately, in results. So let's break down the psychology behind all of this. The first psychological truth is this: many senior men overvalue female attention. After 60, it's common for men to think that if a woman shows interest, it must be something rare. Something special. They start telling themselves, at my age, I should be grateful for this. And that belief quietly lowers their standards. When you feel lucky just to have someone, you start accepting behavior you would have rejected years ago. You tolerate inconsistency. You overlook disrespect. You ignore red flags. But here's the truth most men don't realize: women are not attracted to desperation, they're attracted to confidence. Your age doesn't decrease your value. In many cases, it actually increases it. There are countless women who prefer older men specifically because of their maturity, emotional stability, and life experience. So don't think, I'm lucky she chose me. Think, she has the opportunity to be with a man who knows who he is. That mindset alone changes everything. The second psychological truth is that senior men often confuse kindness with obligation. You want to be a good man. Supportive. Generous. Reliable. But without boundaries, those qualities can easily be misunderstood. Not because women are bad, but because human nature works a certain way. People tend to take for granted what's always available. If you give too much, too quickly, without limits, it signals that your time, your energy, and your resources are always on the table. And when something feels unlimited, it stops feeling valuable. So the answer isn't to stop being kind. The answer is to pair your kindness with structure. A man who gives with boundaries earns respect. A man who gives without them gets drained. The third psychological truth is that many older men fear loneliness more than they fear mistreatment. And this is a big one. After a certain age, the idea of starting over can feel exhausting. The dating scene feels unfamiliar. The process feels uncertain. So some men stay in relationships that clearly don't serve them, just to avoid being alone. But here's the hard truth: being with the wrong person doesn't cure loneliness. It amplifies it. There's nothing more isolating than being in a relationship where you feel unseen, unappreciated, or disrespected. Peace, even if it's alone, is far better than companionship that feels like a burden. You're never too old to find a meaningful connection. But you are too experienced to waste time in the wrong one. The fourth psychological truth is that women naturally test boundaries. This doesn't always come from a negative place, it's often instinctive. A woman wants to understand the man she's dealing with. His strength. His limits. His self-respect. So she tests. Maybe it's a small comment. A bit of attitude. A moment of inconsistency. And how you respond tells her everything. If you ignore it, she pushes further. If you tolerate it, she assumes it's acceptable. But when you calmly stand your ground and say, that doesn't work for me, something shifts. She sees strength. She feels clarity. And respect begins to build. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about being grounded in who you are. The fifth psychological truth is that women lose attraction when a man becomes overly available. A lot of senior men misunderstand this. They believe that always being there, always answering, always showing up, always prioritizing her, proves loyalty. But attraction doesn't grow from constant availability. It grows from balance. A woman wants to feel like you have a life beyond her. That you have purpose, structure, and direction. You make time for her, but you don't drop everything for her. Because the moment you do, she stops seeing you as a man with value and starts seeing you as someone who revolves around her. And that shift kills attraction. A senior man with purpose is magnetic. A man with no life outside of a relationship becomes forgettable. Another truth many older men overlook is this: women respond more to clarity than effort. You can try your hardest, plan dates, give gifts, be present, be supportive. But if you're not clear about who you are and what you expect, all that effort loses impact. Women respect clarity. They want to know where you stand, what you want, what you won't tolerate. When a man says, "This is what I'm looking for, and this is what I don't accept," it creates instant structure. And structure creates respect. But when a man tries to earn love through effort alone, he often becomes an option, not a priority. Effort without standards turns into servitude. And that's not attractive. The next psychological truth is that emotional independence is extremely attractive, especially after 60. At this stage in life, most people are no longer looking for chaos. They want calm, stability, peace. A man who can manage his emotions, stay grounded, and not react impulsively stands out immediately. Emotional independence means you don't let her mood control yours. You don't absorb her stress. You don't fall apart when things don't go your way. You remain steady. And that steadiness creates a sense of safety, something every woman values deeply. Now here's another important truth: women respect men who respect themselves. If you stay in situations where you're treated poorly, where your effort isn't matched, where your presence isn't valued, you're sending a message. Not just to her, but to yourself. You're saying, "This is what I'm willing to accept." But when you walk away from disrespect, everything changes. You communicate strength without saying a word. And interestingly enough, many women actually gain more respect for a man who leaves than one who stays and tolerates everything. Self-respect sets the tone for how others treat you. Another truth senior men must understand is the power of silence. Now, silence can come from two places: weakness or strength. Silence from weakness is avoidance, fear of conflict, fear of losing her. But silence from strength is different. When you create distance after a boundary is crossed, not out of anger, but out of self-respect, it sends a clear message. You're not available for disrespect. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain endlessly. Your actions speak for you. And that kind of emotional control is deeply respected. Senior men need to stop reacting emotionally and start responding intentionally. One more truth that often gets overlooked: never retire your masculinity just because you've retired from work. A lot of men slow down after 60, and that's natural. But in the process, some also lose their edge, their assertiveness, their leadership. And that creates a shift in how they're perceived. Because women still want masculine energy. Not dominance, not control, but calm leadership, direction, stability. Masculinity shows up in how you make decisions, how you set boundaries, how you carry yourself. When that disappears, you stop being seen as a partner and start being seen as just a companion. And that changes the entire dynamic of the relationship. Now, in the final part, we're going to get even more practical. We'll break down exactly how to protect yourself emotionally, financially, and mentally without becoming cold, distant, or closed off. Because the goal isn't to avoid relationships. The goal is to experience them in a way that adds to your life, not drains it. Now let's bring everything together and focus on what really matters: how you protect yourself while still enjoying connection, companionship, and love. Because the goal here isn't to become cold, distant, or closed off. The goal is to stay open, but protected. Engaged, but grounded. Giving, but never at the cost of yourself. So let's talk about the principles every senior man should live by when it comes to relationships after 60. The first principle is simple, but powerful: give slowly and observe quickly. When you meet a new woman, there's always going to be that initial excitement. The conversations feel good. The attention feels refreshing. The connection feels promising. But you have to slow it down. Because anyone can present their best version in the beginning. Anyone can be kind, attentive, and engaging for a short period of time. Time is what reveals truth. So instead of rushing to invest, you take a step back and watch. Watch how she speaks to you when she's stressed. Watch how she treats other people. Watch how she handles disagreements. Watch how consistent she is, not just when things are easy, but when they're not. Give your attention slowly. Give your trust slowly. And when it comes to money, give extremely slowly. But while you're giving slowly, you're observing everything. That's how you protect yourself without closing yourself off. The second principle is this: never give commitment to inconsistency. If a woman disappears, comes back, sends mixed signals, or only shows up when it's convenient for her, that's not someone you build with. That's someone you step back from. At this stage in your life, your time is one of your most valuable assets. You don't have years to waste trying to figure out someone who isn't clear about you. Consistency is not a bonus, it's a requirement. A woman who truly values you will show up with clarity, with effort, and with stability. Anything less than that is a red flag you shouldn't ignore. The third principle is to maintain your independence at all costs. This is where many men go wrong. They get into a relationship, and slowly, they start letting go of the things that made them who they are. Their routines, their hobbies, their friendships, their personal time. And without realizing it, they begin to lose their identity. But a relationship should never replace your life, it should complement it. You should still have your own structure, your own interests, your own sense of direction. Because the moment someone becomes your entire world is the moment they start losing respect for you. Independence isn't distance, it's strength. The fourth principle is this: never explain your worth, demonstrate it. A lot of senior men fall into the habit of trying to prove themselves. They explain why they're a good man. They highlight what they bring to the table. They try to convince a woman to see their value. But real value doesn't need to be explained. It shows up in how you carry yourself, and how you respond to disrespect, and how you set and maintain boundaries, and what you tolerate, and more importantly, what you walk away from. A man who respects himself doesn't need to argue for respect. He naturally receives it. The fifth principle is to stay financially disciplined. This one is critical. Because at this stage in life, your financial stability is directly tied to your peace of mind. And emotions can easily cloud judgment, especially when loneliness or attachment comes into play. You might feel tempted to give more than you should, to help more than makes sense, to prove your value through financial support. But that's where many men make costly mistakes. Be smart with your money. Save first. Invest wisely. And only be generous when it comes from a place of clarity, not pressure, guilt, or emotional attachment. A woman who respects you will never expect you to compromise your financial security for her comfort. And if she does, that tells you everything you need to know. Now let's talk about the most important principle of all. Your peace is your greatest asset. At this point in your life, peace is no longer optional, it's essential. You've already lived through enough stress, enough challenges, enough complexity. What you need now is calm. A peaceful home. Clear communication. Emotional stability. And the woman you choose to be with will either add to that peace or take it away. There's no middle ground. A woman who brings constant drama, confusion, or emotional instability into your life will slowly drain you. Not just mentally, but physically. Stress doesn't just affect your mood. It affects your health, your energy, your quality of life. On the other hand, a woman who brings calm, understanding, and consistency will elevate every part of your life. She'll make your days feel lighter, your mind feel clearer, your life feel more balanced. That's the kind of connection worth having. So choose carefully. Protect your time. Protect your energy. Protect your heart. And most importantly, protect your dignity. Because at the end of the day, relationships after 60 can be incredibly fulfilling. They can bring companionship, joy, and a deep sense of connection. But only if you approach them with awareness. Only if you stop doing the things that weaken your position and start living by the principles that strengthen it. Women are not the problem. The real issue begins when a man abandons his standards, his boundaries, and his identity. But once you stop doing that, everything changes. You start attracting better behavior. You start receiving more respect. And most importantly, you start feeling like yourself again. Stronger. Clearer. More grounded. And that's what this is really about. Becoming the man who doesn't need to chase, convince, or prove anything. Because his presence alone speaks for itself. Thanks for watching. And if you want more insights like this, real, honest guidance for navigating relationships after 60, make sure you stay connected.